The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. This is the 2019 ACUHO Conference and Expo Exhibitor webinar, so welcome and thank you for joining us. My name is Lori Sabata, and I will be serving as your technical producer for the broadcast today. So as my first official duty in that role, I'd like to make sure that everyone can hear my voice and see the screen. So I'd like to direct your attention to your control panel. If you take a look at that, especially if you're familiar with GoToWebinar, there's a little sort of like a cartoon hand there. If you could just click that, that lets me know that you can hear my voice all right, and you can also see the screen. You should be seeing the title slide that says ACUHO Conference and Expo Exhibitor Sneak Peek Webinar. And I do see some hands raised, so thank you so much for doing that. Looks like all is well on your end. So I know we have a lot to get through today, so also online and presenting with me today is Allison Jones, and I'm going to turn it over to Allison in just a couple of minutes. But first, before I do that, I just have a couple of housekeeping items and just kind of talk about how the flow of the presentation is going to go today. So after I turn it over to Allison, Allison will spend some time presenting some content and some important information for you to know, and some PowerPoint slides. And then at the end of that time, we will take some time for questions and answers. So again, if you take a look at your control panel, you'll find a box there. It says either question or chat, something like that, and you'll be able to type in your questions there. And you don't have to wait until the end of the webinar to ask your questions. You can just ask away. Just type them in at any time, and I'll be monitoring those throughout the presentation. And then towards the end, at the end, we'll take time to address any questions that you have. And anytime, during the presentation, if there's any sort of tech issue, like, there's crackling or you can't hear me or you can't hear the presentation or the slides stop advancing, please use that chat function to send me a message, and we'll try to resolve any issues that you're having. I wanted to mention also that we're recording the webinar today, so if you have any colleagues that might have missed the webinar, or maybe you have some information that you want to go back and review, we'll be sending out the YouTube link to this webinar, and you'll be able to view it later. So Allison, I'm going to go ahead and turn it right over to you. Welcome.
Thanks, Lori. Thanks so much. Well, welcome all of our exhibitors. We certainly are excited to see you shortly in Toronto. We can't tell you how much we appreciate you joining us on the show floor this year and supporting ACUHO. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. We are heading to Toronto. A week from tomorrow is when my flight lands, so I'm excited to see you all. This slide, if you look to the left, are some lovely pictures of the Toronto skyline, the CN Tower, the beautiful skyline, which you will see in our structures that are built out for the conference. And then if you look over on the right-hand side, those are pictures of the MTCC, or the Metro Toronto Convention Center. So that, with the flags kind of in the middle, is where you will enter to our side of the convention center. And then please familiarize yourself with those escalators that you see down at that bottom right hand. There are a lot of escalators in this building, so we'll get to that in just a second. Great, so today we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about some of the numbers that are coming through that you'll see: delegates, exhibitors, presentations, things like that. Overview of sites and transportation, so some of the hotels and box structures that we are using in Toronto, as well as the convention center, and transportation to and from all of those, specifically from the airport. And then we're going to go ahead and talk about getting acclimated in the convention center. Like I said, it is lots of levels and lots of escalators, our anchor speakers, and then some conference highlights. And then we'll also talk, while y'all are on the call, some important exhibitor information, and then the 2020 exhibit booth priority sale. So like Lori already said, if you have any questions, please feel free to type those in the webinar chat box, and then we will share this document with everyone via YouTube. And then if you have any questions that you're not comfortable asking, or they're more specific, please feel free to email me. And there again is my email, but I'm quite certain most of you know it, considering my inbox this week. All right, so by the numbers, this conference is shaping up to be one of our big success. So we have 1,206 delegates. That does not include you all. That does not include the exhibits booth staff personnel. So those are, for the majority, institutional delegates. Currently, we have 193 exhibit booths on the show floor, which is great, and we have 11 major sponsors, and that does not include the ACUHO Foundation. So if you are sponsoring, I want to send a special shout out and thank you to you. You've certainly helped make this conference possible in conjunction with all of our exhibitors, who we appreciate so, so much. So in addition to all of that, we have about 350 presenters that will be sharing their knowledge with all of us. We have 3 general anchor sessions, and then we have 14 major receptions. And I'll talk in a little bit more detail about those as we move through the slides. All right, so how do I get there from the airport? Where do I go? So the UP Express is probably the easiest and most economical way to travel from the airport to the hotels. Now, I will say if you are staying at the Fairmont, which I know a good majority of you are, this is actually a quite lovely way to travel. It's relatively economical. It takes about a little bit less than it would if you would take a cab. And it's very, very easy to find when you're at the airport. You just, after you get your luggage, you find Terminal 1 and you follow the signs to the trains, and then you'll get off at Union Station. And Union Station is directly across the street from the Fairmont. So if you are staying at the Fairmont, this is quite truthfully the most economical and probably quickest way. And I will tell you something, I've traveled on a lot of trains in my time, and this was probably one of the cleanest. There's Wi-Fi, great luggage space, the seats are nice and roomy. So if this is an option for you and you are staying at the Fairmont, I would definitely take advantage of it. If you are not staying, or if the Strathcona, the Fairmont or the Strathcona, this is definitely an option. If you are not staying at either of those 2 hotels, if you're at the Delta or the Intercontinental or a different hotel in Toronto, I might go ahead and utilize Uber and Lyft. Both of those serve Toronto, and that pickup is right there. Taxis are certainly plentiful and available. I would say the last time I took a taxi, it was about $60, $50 to $60, and does take a little bit of time, so be prepared for that. And I've never rented a car in Toronto, but I'm assuming it's just the same as any other rental when you get to an airport. So definitely, depending on your hotel, I would do a little bit of research on the different ways to get back and forth. But again, if you're at the Fairmont or Strathcona, definitely take the UP Express. All right, so an overview of our sites. This is just a little bit of our map utilizing the 5 main facilities that we are in. So the Fairmont and the Strathcona are right across the street from one another. If you see that blue Union Station on the opposite side of that green line, which is I believe Front Street, that is just right there. I mean, you literally are, they drop you right at the door to the Fairmont. Now, if you go down a little further, that big blue circle that says ACUHO, that is the MTCC or the Metro Toronto Convention Center. You'll see those 2 hotels. The Intercontinental is connected by a walkway, and then the Delta is connected as well, and it is right across from the convention center. So one of the things that I think is important to know when you're walking to, if you're coming from the Fairmont or the Strathcona or not a connected hotel, is that you'll want to go, as you travel down Front Street, you'll want to go to Simcoe. And you'll head south on Simcoe, and you'll actually you'll walk under an overpass, and then you will, once you come up from that overpass, from underneath the overpass, the entrance is right there on the right-hand side. There'll be a lovely little garden and some different things, and you are on that side. You can enter off of, you can enter the building off of Front Street, but it is very confusing and convoluted, so it really is just easier to just take that turn onto Simcoe and head in that way. Once you will enter on the 500 level, which I think that is our next slide. So once you enter on that 500 level, you're just gonna start going down. So what's really interesting about the convention center is that the 500 level is the street level, and as we go down the escalators that I told you to familiarize yourself with, the numbers get higher. So really, we are living and breathing on that 800 level our entire time together, and you're just gonna wanna take those escalators down. They are extremely hard to miss, and there will be lots of signage and wayfinding to get you down to the ACUHO. All of the fun stuff that's happening on ACUHO. On that 600 level is the placement exchange, which you probably won't be utilizing unless you are one of our employers that is looking to hire. I don't know that we have any corporate folks registered for the placement exchange, but that is happening on that 600 level starting on Thursday and ending on Saturday. And then the 700 level is where all the educational sessions will be happening for ACUHO, and then the 800 level is where everything else happens. And we'll see that in, I think, the next slide. So that's going to tell us a little bit more about what's going on. So if you, Lori, do you want to advance that slide all the way, and then a bunch more things will pop up. So our general sessions, again, are upstairs. Our opening reception is in Exhibit Hall D. And then our general anchor sessions are in Exhibit Hall G. Our opening reception is in Exhibit Hall F, and you all will be right there in Exhibit Hall E. Now, if you look at those green boxes where that 833 is highlighted, that is where that escalator kind of dumps you out. So the first thing folks see when you come down from that escalator will be our entrance unit and the entrance into the exhibit hall. And then all of this is just full of everything that you see at our hall. So our general sessions, our opening reception, our foundation space is that gold box. The purple box is the bookstore. The green box is registration, so delegate and exhibitor registration. And then where that circle is, where the 833 is, that is the engagement space. So as you can tell, in years past, you know, we've kind of, the exhibit hall has been maybe down an escalator and there's nothing around it. This year there's everything that is happening at the conference is happening right there on that 800 level. So really exciting. So we'll give a little more detail as we progress through this slide. So this is an actual rendering of what our front desk and exhibitor check-in will look like. So there are three major stations when you come down those escalators: exhibitor check-in, front desk, and information assistance. So you'll come there, you'll see myself or Catherine Scheid, who works with us, works with me in our corporate world, and then also all of our red shirts. So all of our red shirts will be there. And if you are not familiar with our conference, our red shirts are our exhibits committee volunteers, and they have their nickname because they wear red shirts. So we're very clever here at ACUHO. So you will find Catherine, myself, or a red shirt, and they will have your packets and your pre-printed name badges all ready for you. You'll get a packet with your ribbons, your name badges, and then the lanyards, and then one of our red shirts will escort you into the exhibit hall. If there's any kind of an issue or a problem, you need a badge reprinted, or some person's not coming, or you didn't give me any name badges, so we need to make all new ones, someone right there at that exhibitor check-in will be able to do that for you. And that, again, is right to the right when you dump off that escalator. It is right to that right. If you will be able to see it as you make your way down. So some exciting things that I want to make sure everyone is aware of is that our exhibitors are incredibly important to our association, and we are excited to have you attend all of our sessions. So not just the exhibit hall. We're a little different in that respect, in that, you know, you don't have to buy an extra session or an extra badge or anything like that to be part of the conference in general. So our first, on Saturday evening, our opening session speaker is Kim Campbell, and Kim Campbell is the 19th Prime Minister of Canada. She was the first woman to hold that office. That session is actually sponsored by Mackie Mitchell Architects. So we're really excited about that. That is Saturday evening. And then following that session is our opening reception, which is right there, where you saw in one of the exhibit halls. Thanks, Lori. Our Monday session, which hopefully y'all will still be around, is Brian Terrell Clark. He's a Broadway star, played George Washington in Hamilton, has lots of great educational foundation work, and he is our Monday session speaker, and that is actually sponsored by Sky Factor. So we're excited to have that. And then we're doing something a little different this year for our closing sprint session. If you all are still here on Tuesday, we encourage you to come see some pillars of the profession present in a sprint style session. And so you can see all of those wonderful folks who will be chatting through different types of experiences and things that they have done in their career. So that's going to be a really exciting presentation as well. And that actually ends our conference on Tuesday afternoon. And these fine folks are joined by about 350 other presenters throughout the association and the profession. So one of the things that's really important to ACUHO is being very mindful of our carbon footprint. So we, and Lori actually, Lori, can you go back a slide? Would you mind?
Yeah, sorry. It's going to run through its little animation, so I'm going to send it back.
No problem.
Clicked one too many.
Not a problem. So as I was saying, our carbon footprint and being very mindful of that is really important to us. So we have really done some different things with our actual conference publication. It is an educational content magazine, and we do have a little bit of conference information in there, but really the place to go and get your conference information is the mobile app. And Lori actually is our keeper of the app and works tirelessly to keep this updated and user-friendly. We heard a lot of feedback on the app and in the ease of use last year, and so Lori and her team have worked significantly to evolve how we use that app and the information that it provides. So I really, really encourage you all. It is live now. I really do encourage you all to download that. There are directions right there, your App Store, your Play Store, search ACUHO events, and it should be the first one that pops up. And then one of the really interesting things about this app is that you can kind of create your own schedule. So if there are some ed sessions that you do want to see, or there's a company or institution out there that you have just started doing business with, or you're interested in knowing more about, you know, hitting one of their sessions or being able to go to one of their sessions and listen to what they have to say and make that connection, I think is really important. So we certainly do encourage you all to get the most accurate information from our app. That is also where your information lives. So there is a tab for exhibitors. So if you all remember, about a month ago, I sent out an email and said, follow these steps to input all of your information. So your company logo, your all of your social media handles and hashtags, your company description, all of that is, if you did that, then that should be showing up in the app. If you didn't do it in response to that email, I would suggest you search your inbox and find that email and go ahead and download that. And certainly you can call the office and Catherine and I can help walk you through that as well, or you can send us the information and we can help assist with getting your information up there. But that is where our institutional delegates will see all about you. All right, so let's get to the meat of this, the important information that I know you all want to know. So this is our third year with our general services contractor, AGS Expo Services. So that is our Expo Services, our general contract provider, do all of the additional things you would purchase for your booth. So your booth does come with the pipe and drape space. That is a 3-foot sidewall and an 8-foot back wall. I actually got that question today, so in case anyone is on that call that asked me that question, you will know. 3-foot sidewall, 8-foot back wall. Comes with your pipe and drape. It comes with 1 6-foot skirted table, 2 side chairs, and a waste paper basket. Our hall is not carpeted, and while we do not require carpet, if you would choose to purchase it, you could do this through AGS. You can also purchase, if you want high top tables and not the standard 6-foot regular table, you can do that. If you want high boys, do that. If you want tall chairs, all of that is bistro style chairs. All of that is right there in the service kit. The link is right there, and then Ginny O'Neill is our event manager. Ginny is actually new to ACUHO, so we're excited. I think everyone will really enjoy her. She will be on site helping folks walk through anything that they've ordered, helping get freight and drayage and all of that into their booth. We also, if you want electric or internet, we will have Wi-Fi. The hall will be Wi-Fi, and that is sponsored by HBO this year. But if you want electric or if you want a hard drop in your booth, that link is also in the service kit under ancillary services. Again, this year we will offer lead retrieval. That is through Bartizan and their iLeads product. That link is also in the service kit. And this year, if you have not shipped your booth materials to Canada at this point in time, you really, really need to take down Brian Moore's name and number. Brian is with Beyond Borders. They are our expediter, our customs broker, and getting freight through Canada. We are very excited to say that our truck, that we ship about 12 pallets from the ACUHO Central Office here in Columbus, and that cleared customs and is at the advanced ship warehouse. We all breathed quite the sigh of relief when we recognized that that made it through customs. So we're very excited. If you have not yet shipped your product and you are planning to, you really need to get in touch with Brian as soon as possible. All right, so important times to remember. So setup is Friday the 21st from 3 to 6 p.m. Again, when you hit those escalators on the 800 level, you will look to your right and there we will be. So come see us on Friday or Saturday and pick up your packet. So we're right there at Exhibitor check-in. And then what we really want you to know is that we would welcome you to our opening keynote and Parthenon Awards. The Parthenon is one of the highest honors of the foundation, and that is a secret, so nobody knows who those Parthenon winners are, specifically the winners themselves. So that will be revealed on Saturday. And then immediately following that at 7:30, from 7:30 to 9, is the opening reception. And that is all right there by the exhibit hall, not in the exhibit hall, but by the exhibit hall. So please make sure you join us for that. So the Expo Hall opens to delegates on Sunday the 23rd at 10 a.m. and runs to 2:30. And then on Monday the 24th from 9:30 till 1:30. Now the hall will open 1 hour prior for you all to come in, get your booth set up. We will have coffee available, all of that. And then that will be 1 hour prior to it opening for the delegates. And then teardown will begin at 2 p.m. following the close of the show on the 24th. So there is a 30-minute window, and you can certainly, not any earlier than 1:30, but you can certainly start packing your booth up at 1:30. But if you are a larger exhibitor and you have had AGS store your crates or your empties, those will take a minute for those to get to you. So I like to give them a 30-minute time frame. So just know that you might have 30 minutes. If you need to go find a coffee, grab a water, change your clothes, you have about 30 minutes before your empties will probably be at your booth. All right. So one of the most exciting things we do at the conference is that we offer a priority booth sale. So this is an opportunity for any of our current exhibitors, so people who are exhibiting with us in Toronto, to purchase their booth for our 2020 Conference and Expo, which will be the 27th through the 30th of June in Portland, Oregon. So on we will, red shirts will come into the exhibit hall and pull and let you know it's your time. So we do this in groups of 10. So starting on Monday at 9 in the morning, in groups of 10, we'll have red shirts come through, come to your booth and let you know that it is your turn to select your booth for Portland. Now you don't have to take advantage of this at all, but it is, there are some nice perks to taking advantage of this priority sale. So once we get those 10 in, we'll give it about 10 minutes after the last person in that group of 10 has selected, and then we'll move on to the next one. So if someone says at 9 o'clock, hey, company XYZ, come down and get your booth. If you come down at noon, there's probably, lots of those folks. Instead of being number 10 in the queue, you might be number 57 in the queue. So you might, and I get that a lot of times you can't get away, especially if you're a one-man band. It's a little harder to get away from your booth, but it definitely is something that I would take advantage if you choose to participate with us in Portland, and I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to. So the way that selection is based on priority points with ACUHO. So how that works is your priority points are based on your spend with ACUHO. So for anything you have on the association side, for any dollar that you have spent, that is equal to 1 point. For any dollar that you have spent with our foundation, it is a 1.5 multiplier. Then all of those numbers are dumped into a rubric, and a list of priority points pops out, and we go in that order. And so why should you participate? Well, probably because you're going to be having the most amazing time in Toronto, and you can't imagine how you ever lived without ACUHO in your life before. And then you will want to take advantage of joining us in Portland, because you'll be able to do two things that are pretty important. You'll be able to lock into the 2019 rates, so you won't experience that rate increase. And then you'll also be able to select your booth. So we have quite the system all set up and ready to go, where you can, we'll have our floor plan for 2020 in Portland up on a screen, and we'll go ahead and you can select your booth, and we'll put you in that booth right there. Now you will need to have the ability to select and purchase on behalf of your company, and we will require a minimum of a 50% deposit. Yes, that last one. Thanks, Lori. Okay, and that's really all I have to tell you all. I know that that was quick. I'm sure that there are several questions, and I would be happy to answer that.
All right, thanks, Allison. I had a couple questions about, and they're sort of all related. So just, wanting to know about outside, the exhibit hall and what's happening there. Can exhibitors go to ed sessions and keynote sessions? How does all that work?
Absolutely. So we not only can you, we encourage you to go. We think that it is absolutely important that our exhibitors are seen as not just folks in the exhibit hall. We want people to see you as part of our association, because you are, quite truthfully. So we encourage you to attend our keynotes. I think that they are going to be stellar. I'm very excited to see Kim and Brian. I think that those are going to be wonderful. And of course, it's always great when we see, in our sprint session, when we see our institutional representatives up there talking about what they know and how they do things on their campus. So certainly our anchor sessions that happen on Saturday, Monday, and Tuesday are available for you to attend, as well as any educational session that you might be interested in seeing. We would love for you to do that. Now, I will say that our SHO pathway, which is sponsored by Trainer HL, that session is for SHOs only. So that is, so while they don't necessarily, that content level is one that is definitely a higher level. It is specifically for senior housing officers. It is not for corporate members, and it is not for entry or mid-level professionals. It is definitely for SHO. There is a ticket that is required to attend any of those sessions. So that is one of those that is not an option. But every other ed session, including our anchor sessions, certainly is.
All right, thank you. And I have another question. Just what in general can we expect at the opening reception?
Sure. So there's the opening session and then the opening reception. The opening session is a great, I'm excited to hear Kim speak. I think, like we've said, we'll do a couple of housekeeping things. We'll do the Parthenon Awards, which is always a great and exciting surprise in time for the entire conference. And then after that, we'll flow into that other exhibit hall, and that will be set up. There will be cash bars. There will be some entertainment, and then there will be heavy hors d'oeuvres. So all of our exhibitors are invited and welcomed to go. So there isn't an extra cost. You don't need a ticket. Just come on in and enjoy. It's a great opportunity to network and mingle with folks.
Great. And then just another question about meals, like lunches and those kinds of things. How does that work for
Sure. Yeah, so we provide lunch in the exhibit hall on both Sunday and Monday. I do believe, as we have done in past years, we'll open the buffet lines up about 30 minutes prior for all of our exhibitors to be able to get some food before the mass flood comes in with all of our institutional delegates. But you all are more than welcome and encouraged to go ahead and enjoy lunch. If you have the opportunity to go and sit at a table when everyone's in there, then we certainly encourage that. That is a very busy time in the hall. We definitely want to make sure that you're getting food. So please do make sure that you take advantage of that buffet that will be in the halls both Sunday and Monday.
All right.
And again, you don't need tickets. You don't need anything like that.
Great. Thank you. That's actually all the questions I have for right now.
All right.
So I think, unless we have any closing words, we could go ahead and end the session for this afternoon.
Yeah, well, I really want to thank you all for joining us, not only on this webinar, but certainly in Toronto. We know that it certainly goes beyond that cost to exhibit. We know that getting your freight there, getting yourselves there, a hotel room, all of that, we understand that expense that you all endure, and we truly appreciate that you have chosen ACUHO as one of those events to support and to be at, and we can't thank you enough. I'm excited to see lots of old friendly faces, and I'm very excited to meet all of the new folks that will be joining us, and we can't wait to welcome you to the ACUHO family.
Great. I had just one more question slipped in. Someone had asked if we're sending out the PowerPoint as well to all the exhibitors.
We certainly, Lori, if I can do that, I certainly will.
Okay, great. All right, very good. Well, thank you all very much, and thank you, Allison, for sharing that information with us. I learned some things too, so it was good. So thanks so much. Yep, everyone have a great afternoon. Thank you.
All right, bye.